can't screw things up any worse than they already are.
What's your position on border issues?
I'll keep us out of war with Oklahoma.
Over here. Can you get the Republicans and Democrats to work together? Work together? Work together?
I'm running for governor, not God.
The Kinky Freeman talking action figure has 25 different sayings and comes with an action agenda, but can only take action if you elect Kinky governor.
Criticize me all you want, but don't circumcise me anymore.
Grilled tenderloin for fundraiser, $1,000 a plate. Campaign ads filled with half-truths, $10 million. Promises to special interest groups, over $10 billion. Finding out the truth, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's your voter registration card. Use it. Vote Green Party candidate Ralph Nader for president.
Mr. Engineer, why is the Big Dig $12 billion over budget?
Well, you see...
Hey, how did the Big Dig get $12 billion over budget?
Simply put...
Put an end to politics as usual in Massachusetts. Be independent. Vote Christy Myhouse for governor.
Navy SEAL, union member, volunteer high school football coach, outdoorsman, husband of 23 years, father of 2. A man who will fight to return Minnesota's budget surplus to the taxpayers, who will fight to lower property and income taxes, who does not accept money from special interest groups, and who will work to improve public schools by reducing class sizes.
Meet Ned Lamont. He can't make a decent cup of coffee.
Everybody Wang Chung tonight.
He's a bad karaoke singer. And he has a messy desk.
Aren't you sick of political attack ads that insult your intelligence? Senator Lieberman, let's stick to the issues and pledge to support whoever wins the Democratic primary. I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
His coffee's really not that bad.
I'm John Hickenlooper, and I'm out to make change in Denver. These parking meters are just one example of what I call the fundamental nonsense of government. The city raised our parking rates, and now shoppers are going elsewhere, business is suffering, and tax revenues are down. After successfully redeveloping Lodo and creating hundreds of jobs, I know I can make positive changes for Denver's economy and solve our water and traffic problems. Now that's the kind of change people can get excited about.
Hi, I'm Paul Wellstone, and I'm running for the United States Senate from Minnesota. Unlike my opponent, I don't have $6 million, so I'm going to have to talk fast. This is my wife, Sheila, and our children. This is my house in Northfield, where I've lived for 21 years. My son, David, farms, and I've worked with Minnesota farmers for years. We must stop the poisoning of the air and the land and the water. I'll lead the fight for national health care. I've been a teacher for 24 years. Labor endorsed.
Paul Wellstone won't slow down after he's elected. Vote for Paul Wellstone on November 6th.
Folks, I heard an old-time preacher read from the book of John the other day. He said the Good Shepherd knows and recognizes his own, and his own know and recognize him. And when the wolves come, the hired hands flee, but the Good Shepherd stays. Folks, we don't need a politician as governor anymore. We need a Good Shepherd. I want to be your Good Shepherd. I'm Kinky Freeman, and that's why I'm running for governor of Texas.
When I grow up, I want the government to have the same problems it has today.
I want to vote for the lesser of two evils. I want to be lied to.
I want my job to go to someone overseas.
I want to be apathetic.
I want tax breaks for the very rich.
When I grow up.
When I grow up,
I want to be disillusioned.
Disenchanted. Disenfranchised.
When I grow up, I want politicians to ignore me.
Vote Ralph Nader for president.
Sergeant Mike Mitchell, Army. Lance Corporal Nicholas Schiavone, Marines. Specialist Eric McKinley, Army. Staff Sergeant Victor P. Leerons, Army. Sergeant Patrick McCaffey, National Guard.
Hey, I'm talking to you.
Lieutenant Neil Santeriello Jr., Army.
What do you think you're
Corporal
accomplishing?
Jacob Palmetier, Army. Lieutenant Ken Ballard, Army. Sergeant David Johnson, Army. Sergeant Daniel Torres, Army.
Why do we listen when George Bush and Joe Lieberman tell us they know how to fight terrorism?
Warrant Officer Eric Kesterson, Army.
How have they made us
Lieutenant
safer?
Ben Morgan, Delta Force. Corporal Jonathan
What have they
Castro,
been right
Army.
about so far?
Corporal Travis Braddock, Marines.
These are questions that demand answers. Iraq has cost our country billions of dollars. It's also cost us a lot more. I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
This is an AK-47, the rifle of choice for terrorists in Iraq and Afghanistan. This isn't vests left over from the Vietnam War. It's the protection we were given when we deployed to Iraq. This is modern body armor, made for today's weapons. The difference is life or death. Senator George Allen voted against giving our troops this. Now it's time for us to vote against him.
VoteVets is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Joe Lieberman on presidential power.
In matters of war, we undermine presidential credibility at our nation's peril.
Joe Lieberman on the Iraq War.
We are now at a point where the war in Iraq is a war of necessity.
Joe Lieberman may say he represents us, but if it talks like George W. Bush and acts like George W. Bush, it's certainly not a Connecticut Democrat. Let's get our voice back in Congress. Vote Ned Lamont for U.S. Senate.
I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
Congresswoman Marilyn Musgrave claims nobody supports our troops more than she does. But she voted to slash veterans' benefits by $14 billion, making it even tougher on soldiers and their families. Musgrave even voted against a modest $1,500 bonus for soldiers in Iraq. That's not supporting the troops. That's just cheap. Isn't it time for a representative in Washington who truly supports our troops? Patriotic Parents of Colorado is responsible for the content of this ad.
I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
Didn't see that coming. I've gotta stop doing this. Stupid car!
If the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result, why in the world would we send Joe Lieberman back to the U.S. Senate?
New from the Reform Party. It's the new Jesse Ventura action figure. You can make Jesse battle special interest groups
I don't want your stupid money.
and party politics.
We politicians have powers the average man can't comprehend.
You can also make Jesse lower taxes, improve public education, and fight for the things Minnesotans really care about.
This bill wastes taxpayer money. Retract it.
Don't waste your vote on politics as usual. Vote Reform Party candidate Jesse Ventura for governor.
When I decided to run for Senate, there was one thing I was looking forward to. So as it turns out, were a lot of you.
Well, I expect that there will be some debates.
I'd love to see you debate with him.
Well, I think there should be debates, yeah.
Some people have more money than others to play with, and where if you debate, you're kind of standing there without money.
Getting a hold of the person I had to debate, however, proved easier said than done.
Is Woody Boschwitz here? No, he's not.
You don't want me to go in?
No, we don't like strangers walking around.
First, I tried his campaign headquarters.
Let me give you my home phone number, too, okay?
Sure. I'll make sure that he gets this, and we'll get back to you.
What do you think? Do you think we should have debates around the state? So that people can
I'll get
see
the
it?
message to him.
What do you think?
Glad to meet you.
No, but about these debates.
Thanks for coming down.
Okay,
Make sure he gets your message.
all
Thank
right,
you.
I'll see you all. Nice car. Then I tried his office. Is he here?
He is not here. He is returning from Milwaukee.
No luck. I'll write my home phone.
Sure.
Is this your pen?
I'm not sure. Probably not.
Looks like a nice one. Well, I don't have a lot of money, so I'll keep this one for our campaign.
That will be fine.
I tried everything. I mean every. Rudy Boschwitz here.
No, not today.
Did Rudy Boschwitz call? Did anybody get a call from him? No. Well, if he calls everybody, let me know. Hey, you guys? Okay, well, maybe I can find him somewhere then. Thank you very much. Okay, bye-bye. They say he's in the cities. I don't know where he is. He's not in Minneapolis. They say he's campaigning, and then I go to St. Paul. They say he's in Milwaukee. Rest assured there will be debates on the key issues of this campaign. Look for upcoming dates and places. And in the meantime, if you see a silver-haired gentleman in a plaid shirt, mention I'm looking for him. Yes, information. Do you have the telephone number of a Rudy Boschwitz, please, in Plymouth?
This is supposed to be a government of the people. But is this a government our people really want? Rushing our troops off the war, trampling on our civil liberties. Senators who rubber stamp these bad policies, then look the other way. Heck no, I'm gonna be there to fight for the people of Connecticut, not the special interests. And I'm gonna be there to fight for a stronger and safer America.
Real change in Washington will only take place if we elect senators like Ned Lamont to stand up for what's right.
I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
And many Virginians are now convinced only independent Republican candidate Russ Potts has the answers to the state's education and transportation problems.
We want Potts. We want Potts. We want Potts.
We want Potts! We want Potts!
We want Potts! We want Potts, baby! We want Potts!
We want Potts!
We want Potts!
We want Potts! We want Potts! We want Potts! We want Potts! We want Potts! We want Potts! We want Potts!
Virginia's gone longer than any state in the Union without investing in its transportation system. My vision for Virginia will be to make transportation and education our top priorities. This is Virginia. Let's make them hear us.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jasper. I'm collecting to build a telescope on a volcanic peak in Mexico.
The endangered aquaculture off the coast of West Virginia.
We can count on you to subsidize foreign governments who want to move American jobs overseas, yes?
Every home in America pays $21,000 in taxes to fund ridiculous programs like these. If you're tired of the government wasting your money, vote for me, Jack Ryan. That better be the pizza guy. I'm Jack Ryan, and I approve this Republican message.
He's gonna be our next senator.
But 2 years ago,
last year, Ned Lamont was my teacher.
he had another job too.
Running a business that he built on his own. But he learned from his parents
The value
of giving back.
giving back to the community.
So I guess being a volunteer teacher
was something that Mr. Lamont felt he had to do.
And now he's gonna help all the people of Connecticut. All the people of Connecticut.
like he helped me.
And me.
And me. Go for it, Mr. Lamont.
Go for it, Mr. Lamont.
I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
So do we.
Folks, when a cowboy shakes your hand, it's the law of the land. Cowboy doesn't talk about education, he teaches. Cowboy doesn't talk about religion, he lives it. The other candidates are spending millions on commercials, going at each other like javelinas in heat. But ask any cowboy, and he'll tell you, money may buy you a fine dog, but only love can make her wag her tail. I'm Kinky Friedman, and that's why I'm running for governor of Texas.
That ought to hold if the weather turns. Here, you try.
Okay.
Watch your fingers.
Hey, Dad! I got something!
Hold on! Hey, honey, Josh caught something! Hang on to him, son! I'm coming!
What are you going to tell your kids when there's no wilderness left? Help save our open spaces.
Hey, I'm camping here!
Government was created to protect our rights, not destroy them.
The decision should rest with us.
Yet many officials would eliminate what could be the most personal choice of all,
The individual can't decide.
the right of a woman to make her own choices about her own body. If this makes you uncomfortable, join us, because private matters shouldn't become public ones.
Here's the idea behind all these political ads in California. Rich politicians, political parties, and lobbyists keep pounding you with lies, distortions, and half-truths, day after day, with millions of dollars of ads, until you believe their lies or get beaten down and decide to stay home and not vote. But this year, you can stop it with one hand. Just vote yes on Prop 89.
When the Bush administration failed to respond after Hurricane Katrina, pictures like these helped to get America's attention. But what about the other disasters we're facing every day? A troubled economy and tax cuts for the very rich, while most of us keep struggling. And the Republican Congress just doesn't care. But if you care, a vote for change begins on May 16th with a vote for Democrat Alan Sandals for U.S. Senate.
I'm Alan Sandals, and I approve this message.
I was called to serve in Iraq because the government said there were weapons of mass destruction, but they weren't there. They said Iraq had something to do with 9/11, but the connection wasn't there. They told us that we'd win the war and be home soon, but we're still there. So when people ask me where my arm went, I try to find the words, but they're not there.
He was told his children would not be left behind.
I refuse to give up on any child.
But they were. He was promised the economy would turn the corner.
This economy is strong and growing stronger.
But it hasn't. He was asked to help make the world safer.
We are winning the war on terror.
But it isn't. He can't vote this year. You can.
Independent Voters of America is responsible for this message.
Millions of people have walked these streets, from the most powerful to the poorest. But only one man has walked all these streets. And when you walk every foot of every street of D.C., you see every door, every home, every business. You see the city's people have to get lifted with better schools, safer streets, better housing, better jobs. It starts with one person taking one step, and soon others are joining him. Who took that first step? Adrian Fenty, our next mayor.
John Darris claims if he's elected mayor of Minneapolis, he'll get tough on crime. Sharon Sales Belton says she'll be tough on crime by using her experience as a parole officer, as founder of the Harriet Tubman Shelter for Battered Women, and as assistant director of the Minnesota Program for Victims of Sexual Assault. John Darris will try to clean up the city by falling back on his past experience as a salesman for Procter & Gamble. Vote for Sharon Sales Belton on Tuesday.
What if someone made a product that helps you understand the past, imagine the future, and corrects your spelling? One that brings families together, explains the rain, and teaches you how to dance. A product made for children, but built to last a lifetime. What if they made this product affordable for everyone in America? Would you want one?
Now you make sure this gets to the principal.
Okay, Dad.
So what do you do with it?
I give it to the principal, Daddy.
America needs more than new schools, new teachers, and more money.
Make sure the principal gets that note. It'll explain everything.
America needs a new school of thought.
We believe that every child
has the right
to a quality
public education.
That all parents
That all parents have the right
to decide
to decide
where to send their
children to school.
and that they should have many different
schools to choose from? Many.
What makes public education public
It's not that the government provides it,
But that all of us,
as citizens,
pay for it.
pay for it.
Parents in charge. It's time for a new school of thought.
Here's the problem when it's one of the country's biggest corporations against you. They may be huge and powerful, but when corporations and insurance companies refuse to conduct their business ethically, it's up to America's civil justice system to protect all of us against fraud, negligence, and defective and dangerous products. That's why America's trial lawyers are our last line of defense in the fight for justice.
The Bush administration and Joe Lieberman keep looking for new scare tactics to try to win elections.
So are you scared, or are you just fed up like me? It's time we hold them accountable for all the mistakes they've made and all the problems they've caused. My name is Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
And so do we.
In 1990, you elected me to fight for working families, and that is exactly what I've done. Now the Republicans are spending millions to come at me with every kind of false and ridiculous attack they can dream up, because I will not support the Gingrich-Dole agenda. I will not vote for their extreme cuts in Medicare, nursing home care, and education, just to pay for a tax cut for the rich. That's plain wrong. I will stand up for Minnesota families and for what's right, no matter what kind of scary monster they send after me.
And in other news, NSP executives continue to push for their plan to store radioactive waste on an island in the Mississippi River. Opponents to NSP's plan say that is a bad idea, that dangerous substances should be kept well out of reach of water, especially waters that have been known to rise, even flood. They go on to say that if the water ever reaches the hot radioactive material, well, things could, quote, get real bad, unquote.
There's actually an amendment on this city's November 5th ballot that would ask you to take back some human rights and let a group of people be legally discriminated against. Now, what kind of city would do a thing like that? Keep human rights moving forward. Vote no on repeal, November 5th.
Read Crashing the Gate and find out how to get the Democratic Party moving again.
For the past 40 years, we've been trying to fix America's education system. And what have we learned? What we've been doing just won't fix America's education system.
We're gonna need more tape.
America needs a new school of thought.
He's been called President George W. Bush's lapdog, out of step with the people of Connecticut, and a tool of the Bush-Cheney administration. Seems like everybody is mad at Joe Lieberman these days. But never fear, good people of Connecticut. The underdog is here.
I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
Who are your
heroes growing up?
My heroes are teachers, firefighters, cops, and cowboys.
You have to get 45,000 registered voters to sign a petition to get you on the ballot. Can you do it, sir?
I don't know how many supporters I have, but they all carry guns.
The Kinky Freeman talking action figure has 25 different sayings and comes with an action agenda, but can only take action if you elect Kinky governor.
Why the hell not?
On the frozen tundra known as Minnesota, among the candidates competing for the U.S. Senate, one stands alone, Mike Cerisi, crisscrossing the state in a determined effort to hear from every Minnesotan, no matter what it takes.
I've never run for public office before.
Right.
You never have?
Never.
Is that right?
And I'm doing it because I think you have to get involved.
Taking on the tough questions, education,
Kids have to have computer technology.
Social security.
That belongs to the people that paid it in. It's a trust, isn't it?
Healthcare.
It seems like in America that one of the things we ought to have is good health care.
Really need to carry 2 insurance plans so you can make it.
Yeah.
Minnesota needs a more effective U.S. senator, and that depends on you.
Ed, what do you think of the Senate race? Don't follow it. Don't follow it. You gotta follow it. Huh? You gotta get involved in your government, guys.
Attend your DFL caucus meeting the weekend of March 11th. Get there any way you can.
Today, we're traveling across Connecticut, asking voters,
Where is Joe Lieberman?
I have not seen him.
Never seen him.
Smoking Joe.
Seen him in Washington, but not in Vernon.
I've never seen him here in Middletown.
No, I've never seen him in Waterford.
No, I haven't seen him in Trumbull. I haven't seen him in Hartford.
I haven't seen him.
Well, Joe doesn't really deliver the bacon to Coventry, no.
That's the only time I see him is on TV.
want a U.S. Senator who knows his Haddam from his Ashford? You want Ned Lamont.
I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
And so do we.
When Mrs. Hammond's request for new chalk got caught up in red tape, she bought it out of her own pocket. When her school's annual supply of light bulbs ran out, she brought one from home. And when the rains came, Mrs. Hammond was there for her students. Which is why when the new school year began, Mrs. Hammond was out selling real estate. Good teachers deserve to be honored and highly paid for their work. America needs a new school of thought.
I'm here to improve education.
Everyone says that. Give us an example when you actually did it.
I'm a volunteer teacher at a high school in Bridgeport.
How does that help me?
We make preschool available for each and every kid.
Tell us more.
We have to invest in education. That's the best way we can guarantee you a good paying job when you grow up.
What's your petition on bedtime?
Negotiable? I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
Congresswoman Marilyn Musgrave is getting in the way of progress. She voted to block stem cell research. Research that could cure diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, diabetes, and multiple sclerosis. Do you want Musgrave's narrow agenda blocking the cure for millions of people? Or is it time to tell Musgrave to get out of the way? Coloradans for Plain Talk is responsible for the content of this ad.
I'm retired General Wes Clark. Joe Lieberman introduced the resolution authorizing the war in Iraq. That was a mistake. Joe Lieberman voted for that resolution without asking the tough questions. That was also a mistake. And now, 3.5 years into a failing mission in Iraq, Joe Lieberman can't seem to say we should change the course. And that's a real mistake. Re-elect Joe Lieberman? Well, there's a word for it: mistake.
I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
Some people look at the glass and say it's half empty. He'd look at the glass and say, let's fill the darn thing up. And he won some, and he lost some, and he never stopped believing in Minnesota and in the DFL's ability to do the most good for the most people. If he were here today, he'd say, look for good people, honest people. Let's elect people Minnesota can be proud of. On November 8th, look into your heart. Vote DFL.
18 years ago, when Joe Lieberman was running against Lowell Weicker, Joe's battle cry was, 18 years is enough. I suppose Joe said that because he knew that after 18 years, the good old boys club trumped good government. It's tough times out there, and Connecticut needs someone who is young, fresh, and spunky. Voters should take your advice, Joe. 18 years is enough. Vote for Ned Lamont.
Vote Ned Lamont for Senate on Tuesday, November 7.
I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.
Who said no to taxes and then raise the ones we got? It's that darn Arnie. Who takes the rich folks' money and then thanks them all a lot? It's that darn Arnie. Who says that our schools are just fine, fine, fine. As he laughs and hands the kids another beat alive. It's that darn Arnie. That darn Arnie.
Vote for DFLer John Marty on November 8th.
If Minnesotans want to send to Washington a senator who in the years ahead would reflect their best interests, they will elect Paul Wellstone.
When Congress is drifting, unable to govern, it makes sense to champion a challenger over a member who has not excelled. Paul Wellstone is the better candidate.
Requests for reprints of the preceding endorsements will be enthusiastically answered by one of our many volunteers at Wellstone for Senate.